I'm very honored because we have an amazing panel with us. I'm going to start first introducing Joanna Popper, who's the global head for VR for HP. She's been really working hard these last 2 years to push forward the industry and is hyperactive. We see each other in China in every location. So this is Joanna.
Thank you.
Then we have Max Reiner, who's the father of Birdly. He's also a professor from ZHDK, probably one of the greatest geniuses of VR, and we also were in several continents together. So please, Max. Eric Fantone from DV Group. DV Group, probably the first company to try reactive actors with Alice, which made sensation at the Cannes Film Festival. It was like, I think, 3 years ago now. Guyenette, who's the brain behind Somniacs and now the Wall of the Worlds in London, which is immersive theater. And finally, Frank from Quinoa, which you can try also here, who's revolutionized what table soccer means. Welcome. And very happy that we have 2 Swiss studios into this amazing lineup. So we'll start with a very short introduction of each of our guests, starting with Joanna, who has a video to play too, I think. So, Joanna.
Sure. Hello. Thanks for hosting. It's great to be here. It's my first time here in Crans-Montana. It's gorgeous. So very happy to be here. So as Solar said, I've been at HP almost 2 years, between 1.5 years and 2 years. Most people are familiar with HP. This is actually our 80th anniversary, so we're looking pretty good for 80. The company was founded in Palo Alto in a garage, so it was the first Silicon Valley company, the story of 2 founders in a garage creating technology, and they were actually creating technology at the time for Walt Disney. So HP has a very long history in computing, very long history in media and entertainment, and we see virtual reality as the future, and virtual reality and AI as the future of computing. So for us, it's really important that we're taking a strong stand and building out the future for computing and for media and entertainment together with all the great studios and creators and companies that we're working with. We have a number of products. We've worked with a lot of the people on the stage with our products, and many of the projects and content creators downstairs as well. And this year we're very excited. We just launched a new headset called the HP Reverb, now available in Europe. And we also just announced our second backpack. It's a backpack computer that is called the G2. It's very exciting names. And so I think we'll show our video of the Reverb, and excited to be here. And like I said, we've worked with so many of the people on the stage, so happy to be here with you.
So Max Reiner.
Okay. Thanks.
The father of Birdly.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and as Salah mentioned, my name is Max Reiner. I teach at the Zurich University of the Arts in the program of Interaction Design. I'm there responsible for the master students. And I'm also the founder of the company SOMNIACS, which created the Birdly. Birdly actually started as a research project at Zurich University of the Arts already in 2014-15. But we started the company in 2014 as a spin-off of this kind of research project. But we've been several years here, so I think you might saw it, but I will show a quick video, the teaser maybe, which makes it much more clear. Okay, you see, we are in the business of endless pleasures in VR. And our companies, the main business area of our companies is, of course, location-based entertainment. And we are stretching this kind of term quite far. So we are looking also into museums, education venues, also zoos, aquariums, but also traditional location-based entertainment sites, but also touristic opportunities we take into account. And you see, our device is solely made to fulfill the dream of flying. So flying, of course, the machine is not only bound to flying, so we will have a release actually in this autumn where we have a new experience where you actually also swim underwater as a turtle or as a manta ray. And so you will see the machine is quite diverse. So we are, our business is based currently on Birdly, but we actually also create a lots of new contents which we release now by time to time to actually bring new experiences to this kind of device. You will find the machine actually outside. You will see there are several experiences. So one of those experiences you are able to experience is Jurassic Flight, which we made more for a museum audience. This experience will take you 150 million years back into the past, and you have the chance to glide as a pterosaurus through this paleontological landscape and explore other dinosaurs. You also will have the chance to soar through Zurich. We started this experience in collaboration with a Swiss startup called Nomoko, which will also have a talk, I think, later. And they made a very detailed scan of Zurich, and you will be able to experience this as well outside of the booth.
Thank you, Max. And introducing Eric from DV Group, very innovative company.
Hi. Okay. Yeah. Hi. My name is Eric Fantone, and I joined a company called DV Group, which is a French, Paris-based company. I have just quickly a background in the regular old media called movies for the past 15 years.
Flatties, as we say, right?
Excuse me?
Flatties. Flatties.
Yeah. Yeah, flatties. So I worked both for US studios and European independent, and decided to switch to more tech because it's more fun, and that's where the future is, about 3 years ago. And I joined DV last year because they were willing to go more and more into next-gen content for entertainment. Basically, the background of the company, the background of the company started in 2011, working as a software development company for mobile app, then plugins for 360 videos, including YouTube, and for different commercial. And the pivot was in 2014, where they did more and more first 360 videos for commercial brands, then for original content and fiction, moved to VR, so real time. And now for the past 2 years, and that's why I joined the company, we're focusing more and more, and that's why I'm here, on XR, location-based entertainment, because that's where we think there's the easier, bigger business model for the next few years. You'll show. Yeah, you'll see. I will just run the videos and talk on it. So. Basically, in a nutshell, that's what DV does. So a part of hardware and software R&D, and more original content, and also working with IP owners like movie studios or European, Asian, and American ones, and trying to build bigger and bigger location-based, what we called IXRT, so Immersive XR Cross-Reality Theater shows. That's where we're focusing for the past 2 years. We started with Alice, where you see the rabbit, the key for us is to have always a live actor doing improv with a group of people, starting from 6 people, let's say up to 15. That's for the technical reason for now and technical constraints to handle 15 avatars at the same time as a social group. And let's say for the human factor, the magic number would be 12 people at the same time to manage and improve and play with. So we're doing groups of that in different rooms, and we're trying to expand the model. And we did another one after Alice called THRV, so the horrifically real virtuality, or Ed Wood, based on like the old sci-fi American movies, that we started commercially to deploy this year, and it was a huge success, first in Montreal, and now we're working to deploy in the US, in major cities like New York, Las Vegas, or Los Angeles, to prepare next step for the years to come.
Thank you, Eric. Carl, I think the world performance is something which is within your spectrum, and maybe you can share us what's your take on LBE and what you've been putting together with Somne and Wall of the Worlds.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarity in what we're doing, I think. I like your terminology for IXRT. Yeah, it's nice. I've been calling it
it's
like
working
layered reality, immersive theatre, basically. It's kind of, yeah, so different terms. I like it all at once. It sounds nice and technical. But I'm going to show a video of Somni first. So this opened a year and a half ago. Audio be okay? Doesn't matter if we have audio. It'd be nice to have it. But yeah, so this is it combines like full dome content and virtual reality in combination with each other. There's full sets. This is over 25,000 square foot. There were 3 virtual reality experiences. This one was like a flying motion simulator, one with heat and wind. This is like a free roam environment. People could see your hands, you could draw in the air with your fingers and things. And you'd go to like a fantasy dreamlike world. The whole show is based on lucid dreaming and astral projection. So it's kind of like you're meant to go inside your mind, and then you have choices that you have to make, whether you decide to save your friends because somebody gets kidnapped in the free roam environment without you realizing, and depending on what door you choose, you get a different experience, and you either get punished, and then the people see you on CCTV that you didn't save them, or you go through and you have to face your fears, and then at the end you get like a final experience when you get brought back to life, as it were, and you either get buried alive or become enlightened, depending on the choice that you made inside the theatre. So I had multiple pathways as well. So that kind of explains a little bit of what the shows are like. And this is the new one. I guess no audio. This is it's based on War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells' story from 1895, and I worked with Jeff Wayne, who made that album in the 70s. So he composed the music for it, and it's another immersive experience. It's 25,000 square foot again, and yeah, so this is twice as big. So there's actually 10 experiences in this, 2 bars, one of them like a huge, like big space with like projection mapping around the outside, and 4 virtual reality experiences, 2 of them with motion simulators, one of them with procedural water, which is all happens all at the same time. There's like a Victorian room that utilizes holophonic 3-dimensional sounds with 30 speakers that are hidden in the room. And yeah, so every single virtual reality experience is social as well. And there's a free roam environment, which is over 17 square meters. And everyone's got their hands, and you can talk, everyone gets their own avatar. And yeah, so it's 12 people at a time, 70 shows a day, and every 10 minutes another 12 people come through. So it's quite, half of the ingenuity is actually sort of making the show run, as well as like making the show itself and making the content. There's a lot of things that go into trying to make something like that work and keep running every day, because it's open every day apart from Mondays. So there's only one day a week that I get a chance to upgrade and change or fix things. So, yeah.
Thank you, Carl. And so, Frank, I think for you, LBE is pretty new. It's been now 2 years you're working with the Coliseum Soccer and refreshed what table soccer means. Can you tell us more about your journey and what's your take?
Okay, so first, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Frank Kessaratos from the company Quinoa. I thankfully have a microphone. I don't have a presentation, my apologies for that. But what I have is even better. I have the actual product sitting outside the cafeteria. So I think, actually pragmatic things speaks better than actual words or images. I think you'll be giving quite a good understanding of what we're about. Quinoa has been around officially since about 2017. But the reality is we have know-how on board, especially in the graphic design space and virtual reality processing space from about 8-9 years. It's the team that we inherited from a previous status, so we've got a lot of competence to be able to produce the products that we do today. We focus basically trying to get traditional classical known games into the virtual reality environment, and there's a very specific reason for this. We firmly believe, like my colleagues here, that VR has a splendid future. So it's really going to be the main, I would say, medium by which we can digest and consume all types of media in the coming times. If we play it correctly, all of us in the industry today. I think that's what we'll end up. But very important is to get the masses to adopt it quickly and easily. So we're looking at games which are basically very comfortable, well-known, familiar, and you put them with the special effects to make them exciting and interesting and exhilarating, that what the virtual reality environment and effects can give you. So the first game that we have on our platform is essentially table soccer, or kicker as it's called in Germany, or baby foot as it's called in France. It has a multitude of names, but that is probably the most iconic known game that all of us has played as kids, and we still play until the time we're 19. So it's something which is going to address the broad masses. And where else can you address it better than in the LBE environment? So
they're asking to talk into the mic.
It's moving to the side, my apologies. Okay, so if you can't hear me, sorry. But anyway, that's
Could you put it closer?
Closer, okay. So, close as I can. So that's the short introduction from my side, and hopefully you'll pass by the table and see it later on.
So, talking about business, Joanna, do you think that this is the most sustainable way to actually make business in VR right now and to have a market LBE situation compared to home usage, or what's your position on that?
There's a few sectors right now where we're seeing a lot of traction. In my point of view, location-based entertainment for most people is going to be their first best virtual reality experience. It's a place where you can go with your family and friends. You can try something new and exciting. In many cases, it's technology beyond what one would have in the home. And the truth is, to this date, most people still don't have virtual reality technology in their home. And so the creativity of combining immersive theater, the creativity of combining multiplayer, of combining different get-ups or contraction, I don't know how you refer to your flying machine, but the combination of the dream makers that people are bringing into or haptics and different things that you can touch really takes that immersion to the next level. So, and it's a place where for the price of a ticket, you can try all of these things out. Virtual reality is something that's really, as all of you who work in the field, really hard to explain, and it's if you just watch a video, we just showed videos, but as you said so well, it's much better just to jump in and try it out. So I came from the television industry before, and I actually worked with at Telemundo with Spanish telenovelas, and we found in our research that people, if they watched our novella, they often liked it better than, say, the competitor's novella, but you had to get them to sample it first. And so what's so important is to get people to sample virtual reality and try it, and then they can see the power and start to come into it themselves. So in terms of the industry, there are certainly companies that are doing quite well. From where I sit, which is we engage mainly around technology, I don't have full visibility into everyone's financials, but I do know who keeps coming back and who keeps buying more hardware or engaging with us for more software or other technology. And so we're seeing a lot of scale with many of our global partners that we have from all around the world. Here in Switzerland, we work with TrueVR, we work with Dreamscape and Artenon, and then globally we work with partners from Zero Latency to Spaces to Nomadic Park Playground and VR Arcade, which are in your neighboring companies. We work with many of you here, which we're happy about, and we're happy to see everyone continue growing. The other industries where we see a lot of traction and strong ROI, mainly on the enterprise side. So for example, in VR training, which cuts across many industries, we're seeing a lot of ROI for businesses across lots of industries. We're seeing a lot of traction in higher education, and we're seeing some traction in healthcare, some of that combined with training, and then also architecture, engineering, and construction, and product development. So we're working with all of the automotive companies. We're working with lots of real estate and construction, where they are essentially able to do pre-vis using virtual reality, which is much more efficient and ends up saving them a lot of money. So those are some of the sort of brightest spots that we see in advancing this technology for the future.
I see. And what about other manufacturers? Do you see them more as partners or competitors? Because we need to build the ecosystem together in a way. So how do you see your other manufacturers?
The other manufacturers?
Yeah.
We see them, our industry is so early that today I would say we're all collaborators. And we're all working together to advance the industries. So, for example, the Quest was a great product that launched recently, not so recently, I guess in May, semi-recently. First came available in May. To me, that's a product that is going to grow the overall market, and the more the overall market grows, the more likely that people are going to then be able to opt into a higher resolution headset or into a more powerful computer. So we see it as rising tides raise all ships.
Another question kind of open for everyone. Original IP versus existing IP. What's the difference? What's the intakes? Where do you stand? I know, so Max, mainly you've created so far your own IPs with Jurassic Flight, with the visits. Even Birdly is like an IP itself. Eric, so you're working with both. Carl, I think you worked with both. Frank, you're creating your own. What's your intakes?
Do you want me to start? Or?
I've worked with like IP which I created, but then also working with someone else's IP. I think helping people always go into something which they're more familiar with as like another IP, and that really helped a lot, I think, this time around. Like sort of people understanding like, wow, okay, this is like a trippy 70s album, which they kind of understood and they kind of went through in their mind as a trip already. So they kind of understood what they were about to experience as an explanation of what on earth is going on with this. And at the moment it's advertised all over London on the tube and on different billboards, but then it's really hard to get that across on an image, what people are actually paying for, until they actually do it. And then they're like, well, okay, that's what it is. And you can show them as much, you can show them video, it's like until you actually experience it, it's really hard.
Yeah, actually, to answer your question, Salah, I think right now, and actually that's what we're doing, we need both. Depending on the size, depending on the budget, depending on how many people you need to recoup your investment, etc., we need both. Basically, we're working on original content, and that's fine because the bandwidth of number of users per day or per hour is quite small compared to other entertainment industries like movies or even regular theater or stuff like that. Original content for few early birds, early adopters of new tech, new shows, it's fine to a certain point. If we want to, crack the code of being a legitimate business in terms of being the equals of other older entertainment industries, we need to have like markers that regular people, not tech savvy, not tech geeks, nerds, etc., want to just try. Just Joe average everywhere in the world just want to have a fun time for a decent ticket price. So he wants to spend 1-2 hours. That's where we're focusing on, non-gaming, like not 15 or 20 minutes, but mostly 1 hour to, let's say, 2-hour show. In order, it's a venue. You need to take your car, that's location-based entertainment. So you need to take your car or bus or public transportation, whatever, to go somewhere and spend an evening, an afternoon with your friends, your family, and get proper time to do that. So in order to attract those people in large numbers, you need a tentpole. And basically, right now, that's the job of most of the really big IP owners, like movie studios, is to facilitate the knowledge and the awareness of, hey, what it is. Oh, I know the IP, I like the IP, it could be superheroes, it could be whatever. And we need that to attract people. And the goal, really our job, is to make that we adapt correctly to give a good first introduction from the IP, which is like a comfort zone for the audience, like, oh, I know that, so let's try it out. I feel safe because it's already Sony, Disney, etc., and so I feel confident to try out that. And when they try the experience, they will see and feel that, oh my God, that's so great. And at the end, sorry for the movie studios or the IP owners, it will be the experience first and the IP second. But that's in another time where we educate and make actually a business as known as theater, cinema, video games, or TV. It needs to be understood and valued, and the perception of value needs to be created in the mind of the general audience. So that's our first phase for the next few years. After that, I'm totally fine, and that's better because we own our original IPs, to have our own and deploy on for the sake of the experience. My end goal is just, oh, that's the new DV experience, no matter what the IP is. You know, IP for me is less important than the experience by itself, because it's so overwhelming when it's done correctly.
I think perception of value is an important word. Max, how do you make sure that the perception of value is clear when people compare your machine to like some of these copycats that we've been seeing in China, for instance? How do you make sure that the perception of value is clear?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the problem which we all have is that we want to keep, when we do virtual reality right, when we do the experiences right and the immersion right, then it's a really narrow path. Because each little mistake can weaken actually this kind of experience. And what I, for example, found out with the copycatters, which we have, for example, with my machine, is that, you know, the love to the details, it's totally not there. They have all fragments, they have all the stuff which we would maybe have, but it's like if you have a soup ingredients and you mix the ingredients in the wrong order, it somehow just doesn't fit at the end. And I think that's a great challenge, I think, for all the creators in immersion, because if you cannot deliver this magical moment that it really merges together and it really works, then the whole efforts are somehow like lost. And that's what I found out, with some copycatters which really didn't put that much efforts in, that it's just more, I think even it's bad for the whole economy of virtual reality, because it gives people which maybe the first time are in an experience a bad impression. They would think, oh, I tried it, I done it, it didn't satisfy me. And I think that's the thing which we have to watch out and care, that we really can deliver those kinds of quality levels for the people.
And Joanna, you have a very global perspective. You're part of, you're global HP, so you go in different countries. Do you see big differences in the potential of the markets if we take like Europe, US, and Asia? And what are the main trends that you could see in differences between those markets?
The main differences between the markets? Yeah. Well, I've been very lucky in the last year and a half to travel to so many markets and see so many great experiences at film festivals, at technology conferences, at theme parks, at arcades. In some ways, the Asian market had a boom earlier. In China in particular, they had many more pop-up VR retail. It may just be a stand with a few headsets that were run by mom and pops. But you saw really early, very high numbers of locations in China. But by the same token, this, in a way, this is a very, very hard industry. You're taking 3 things and bringing that each in and of itself as a startup are hard to do and do well, and putting them together. So you're taking emerging technology, you're taking content creation, and you're taking retail operations, or sort of driving traffic, consumer experience. If you look at each of those, the majority of new companies in those fields, just doing one of those would fail. So I have so much respect for all the entrepreneurs and all the companies taking on this great challenge and helping bring the industry forward. So in China, a lot of the mom and pops that came early are not necessarily around, but you see others that may have, that thrived because they got that combination right, and now they have 60 locations. When we talk about China, they have China scale, which is very different than probably US scale or Swiss scale or France, or I think are you British? You sound British, yeah, or UK scale. So that was something interesting in China, that they've already had a level of a boom and a bust, and they're coming out of that already, and they're expanding. And you see locations that are growing strong and have 60 open today, and many more are in their footprint. There's another couple of interesting things about China they do differently. They actually have what we would call looks like a phone booth. I know we don't really have phone booths anymore, but what looked like a phone booth where superhero would go in and change, they go into those and play karaoke. They either do it by themselves or with one other person, which seems different than something we might do in Europe or in the US, and they put VR in some of those. I definitely have not seen that anywhere else. It's very interesting. And they also have more VR cinemas. And so they've taken, and I know some of these exist in France and in other parts around the world, but there's many more of those in China. So they're taking, a theater out of a movie theater and converting one of those into VR cinema chairs. So those are a couple differences of things I've seen in China. Certainly Korea has a booming market. There's a neighborhood you go where you see VR everywhere. There's all these, sort of kind of still mom and pop arcades, and as well as big movie theater, big arcades. That's a difference I would see. The other thing there's interesting is that many of the companies are quite global. So they may be headquartered in LA, but they've already opened in Korea, they've opened in Dubai, they've opened in Japan, and vice versa. And then on the European market, I think it's based on there's so many countries here, there's so many languages here, that it seems like some of the LBEs tend to have grown up and may have many locations in their country, but less of a pan-European feel so far. And so we'll see. So what happens? Do some of them end up combining? Will there be consolidation? Will they what will be the outcome? But those are some of the interesting differences I've seen from the vantage point of getting to work with so many different companies in so many different places around the world.
And I guess, you are creating content and hardware. Some are easier to have for a whole world, being universal. Like we talked about Beat Saber before, or Birdly maybe, or Table is pretty universal. But Eric, for you or Carl, some of your content might not be as appealing if you're in the US market or in the Chinese market, for instance, because they might be harder to understand than flying, which is quite something very universal.
Yeah, yes. Actually, as Joanna said, there's differences. That's our world, with cultural differences. So our job, even if we're a French company, we mostly focus with THRV, the black and white old Edward immersive VR theater that we did, is mostly American pop culture. So our first market is North America, Canada, and the US. And that's where the early adopters, it's easier, let's say that. There's the money, there's already the knowledge and the will to go and try it out in a so not niche market for festivals or just early adopters. When I show videos, because it's quite a easy process to just like War of the Worlds, you cannot just like pop up that, it's take times. But when I show this, I see a difference in when I go to China and show that to see where we can and how we can work and partners with local partners in China. For example, Alice and other ones that we did are more appealing than the American pop culture one, because it's Alice, it's known, it's colorful, there's mushrooms, it's more family friendly. Maybe that's my interpretation. Alice in Wonderland, sorry. Yeah, it's based on Alice in Wonderland. So we try now, because we're working, as you were mentioning, a way, and actually a way is to have like immersive XR theater network, distribution network, a work frame that we can, and locations that we can put IXRT more easily from different locations around the world. So we're trying to find out what would be a common middle ground creatively that can appeal to both Chinese market or Asian markets, because you mentioned Korea, Japan is one also, yes, and North America and Europe and Middle East, you know, and try to find. And what we're doing is as I mentioned before, one tentpole that everyone knows, so basically movie studio IPs. It's easy, everyone can know this, and we need that right now. And regarding original content, we try to adapt with local partners creatively and try to find middle grounds in order to appeal. And if it's good enough or appealing enough to other audience, we can then export it elsewhere, you know. That's what we're focusing on.
We've been asked for War of the Worlds to go around some different places. It seems to, I think the concept will work with anyone, because it's like going into a movie, and certain movies will work in different locations around the world, but generally like they're going to work because it's entertainment. But I think one of the things that I found with location-based VR experiences is that VR itself is an ingredient, and I think making sure to stick with that at the moment. It's like if you go full VR, then it's like it's a VR for hire sort of location-based thing. But then if you have it as an ingredient to tell a story as a device, as a part of it, then it tends to blend and flow a lot better. And I think that's where it's going to be for a while. I still think location-based is going to be like the biggest sort of money-making area of virtual reality for a while, at least until we get like instant communication in virtual reality with volumetric, live volumetrics inside virtual reality. I think that would be the one that will like make everyone go like, that's the kind of app. Okay, we have VR headsets at home, so I can talk to
but
friends.
Still, it will be too tech. Basically, as I was saying, coming from a movie background, switch to tech. I love tech. I love robots, AI, and everything, all that. And my job is basically right now to bring more human, more organic stuff and less tech. That's why we try to work with manufacturers we love you guys, but we need less tech from you. We need something simpler. We need something easier. We need something that disappears. Basically, I love tech, and to bring our experience, as you said, VR must be, and that's why I'm using XR. For cross-reality, it's blurry. You know, it's a bunch of technologies, and I don't want to mention one in particular. And VR is maybe sounding too tech, you know, for the audience. And that's why we're focusing on, with our experience, to have live actors, both in performance capture suits to play avatars and sets like the rabbit from Alice or Dracula from Bela Lugosi, and both real live actors as a stage theater. And we need that kind of guidance, that kind of link between this world and the regular audience, like, oh, he's a human being. I'm a human being, so I can trust him and I can agree to just follow him in that adventure or that is immersiveness. Without that, with just putting a headset and just having a VR experience, it's not complete.
Something really funny in the War of the Worlds. So I'm doing the same thing with like one actor, so it's like the full body captured actor and facial capture as well in one scene. But the problem was like to try and find an actor who would allow to have that identity to be used, because I was using photogrammetry and videogrammetry throughout the whole show to sort of to tell the story, as well as the live actors. But this is like the one character where it's being controlled live, and so I ended up just sort of, okay, it's going to be me. I'll do it. I don't care. I'll give up my identity. It's fine. And so now every time I go through the show to check it, I have someone wearing my skin, like acting to me, and it's a different actor every time, and it is for myself, it's kind of a bit like a weird dream, but yeah, it's that's going to be something that's going to be quite interesting as well, like actors and actors within these experiences and how their identity can be used, especially if it's going to be people are controlling the puppet. It's different if it's like an animated character or like some kind of like a puppet basically. But when it's like a real scanned person, will actors be okay with that? And I've been thinking about that because deep fake conversation is coming up next quite soon as well. Like you're going to be able to do deep fakes on videogrammetry pretty soon. You can break it now, really. You get a videogrammetry and you deep fake on top of that. You deep fake the voice. You could get Brad Pitt, but you just need to get somebody to sort of puppeteer him, and then you could get the voice and you could get the visuals as well.
Did you see the Tom Cruise, Bill Hader?
The creator is here. He will be right there after.
Oh, good. All right. So stay tuned. Coming soon.
Great. So as we're running a little bit late, we can give you a last word if you want to share something or one question from the audience, otherwise we can wrap the panel now.
What I'll share is, so I'm in LA. If you want to follow up with me, I'm very easy to find online, Joanna Popper, and at Twitter, LinkedIn, all the social media. My email is joanna.popper@hp.com. We also have 2 of our Swiss colleagues from HP here, so if you want to talk to somebody local, we raise your hand. we have some of our local team here as well, so happy to be here and happy to keep working with you all and keep moving the industry forward together with more and less tech.
Good, great, and so Burley is right here, Coliseum Soccer is right there as well, and the World of Worlds is in London, playing until when, Carl?
It should be going on until sometime next year, so if anyone comes to London between now and next spring or summer, it'll be there. It's in Leadenhall Street in the City of London. So look up War of the Worlds Immersive and you can get tickets there. Or contact me and we can hang out in the bar and I'll get you. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone, for sharing your knowledge, and look forward to what you're going to build in the next 5 years. Thank you.